Hey everyone, this is Phanmom, aka Let Her Mind Wander, and I am so excited because today I am filming my very first vlog, and this is going to be such a huge step for me because I've never done anything like this before, but FanDad completely set the bar when it came to getting videos up and having your voice be heard, and he inspired me to do this little video, and I just jumped at the chance, and I'm so excited because I've got all of your messages and your questions, and hopefully today I'm going to get to know a little more about you, and you're going to get to know a little bit about me too. So I hope the music isn't too loud in the background. I will have the link down below to what it is, but it's this beautiful composition of a phantom medley on the piano and on the violin, and what could be better? So let's get started. I've got my questions right here. All right, question number one was sent by Anonymous, and if you sent a message and told me who you were, I will give you credit, but if not, then I will just say that it's anonymous. So the first question is thoughts on Hugh Pinero. Oh goodness, okay, so confession time from your lovely fan mom, but I've actually not quite heard of Hugh Pinero before. Before I got on Tumblr and you guys introduced me to him, I had never heard of Hugh Pinero before. And so I immediately went and looked him up, and oh my gosh, who decided that this sweet cinnamon bun of a man should play the Phantom? Because, don't get me wrong, he's amazing. He is absolutely wonderful, and I will talk in a minute why I think he is so great. But he is the sweetest guy. His interviews are so adorable and wonderful, and seriously, he is a cinnamon bun that is too good for this world and too pure. And I absolutely have gotten on the Hugh train. Yes, your fan mom is a big dork. I guess we should get that out of the way now. But in any case, the thing that I like best about Hugh Pinero is I think just by hearing him sing, he is absolutely the successor to Michael Crawford. Now, that's not to say that he's my favorite Phantom. I still think Ramin Karimloo holds that distinction, but his voice, it's so evocative, I think, of Michael Crawford, but it brings its own twist to it, and I particularly love this one version of Music of the Night that I found on YouTube that was the recording of a live performance. Shh, don't tell on Fan Mom. He reaches down at the end to very lightly touch Christine's cheek, and at the last minute, he draws his hand away, and for a second, you get the sense that he is so shocked and taken aback by what he's done or what he almost has done. And I just think that's so moving and so powerful and wonderful. And just that moment sold me. Absolutely sold me. He is, wow, he's wonderful. Okay, I think that's good for the first question. Second question. Hey, so does it bother you when people reblog your RP threads? Because I've seen people doing it, and I wanted to make sure you were okay with it. Well, thank you, Anon. That's very sweet. I know that several role players here on Tumblr do not like it when people reblog their threads, and I can understand why, because some people can have a hard time looking through the notes, and sometimes the notes get confusing, and so, yeah, I can understand why they think that way. But personally, I don't have a problem with it. I've never had a problem with it, and I've spoken to FanDad, aka I Am the Opera Ghost, multiple times, and he and I have the exact same opinion. We're writing these stories, and the fact that people out there like them enough to reblog them and kind of keep them on their own blog, that's such a wonderfully humbling and amazing experience. So you guys keep on liking and reblogging our threads, and we will continue to write. I know that he and I have plotted extensively, and we're definitely looking to continue this story even beyond the realms of LaRue and ALW's musical. So yeah, that's just so humbling, and we're so grateful. So thank y'all, every single one of you, for taking the time to read our thread, and we hope that you enjoy it. And on that same train of thought, third question is thoughts on Fandad. Okay, thoughts on Fandad. Wow, Fandad is absolutely amazing. A little known fact, I had originally written this Christine blog for a long time, but a personal tragedy took me off the blog for a while. And when I decided that I wanted to get back onto the blog and start writing again, I went and looked for Eric blogs because several of my partners had either moved on or were just not role-playing on Tumblr anymore. You know, sometimes they just decide that writing isn't for them anymore. And his was one of the first blogs I came across, and I read his writing, and I thought, oh my gosh, who is this guy? I mean, their writing is so amazing and evocative and shows this true mastery of not just Eric as a character, but as the whole story. And there's no way that he's going to want to write with me because I'm not as well known in the fandom and I'm not as well versed in Phantom lore as I think he is. But you know what? Why not give it a try? Why not just see what he has to say? And so I put my little lure out there, sent him a message, and he got back to me right away. I think he was one of the first that got back to me. And we talked a little bit. We discovered that we had similar views, and we just went from there. And we have created this thread, and it blew up. And I'm not even sure how it did or what happened. But then the whole family thing happened, and it was just wonderful. But all that to say, suffice it to say, Fandad is truly one of the most amazing, wonderful people that I have ever come to know on Tumblr, and he knows that he is my angel of writing, and he just means the world to me. He inspires me, he encourages me, he is absolutely wonderful, and I've said it before and I will continue to say, I am the luckiest writer in the world to have found him out of all the billions and billions of Tumblr users. Fate brought us together, and I couldn't be happier, be any more blessed, or want anything more, because Fandad is simply the best. Alright. Now, does your Christine want children? This is question number 4. I think in the future, maybe, possibly, yeah. It's something that Fandad and I have talked about in our thread. If the story goes a certain way, I think that that would be something really fun to write. We've talked about what kind of children they might have if they do. And so, yeah, that is a definite door left open. All right. Question number 5, and this was sent by one person, but there's 4 different questions, so I'm just kind of lumping it all together into one question. All right, number 1, 5.1. If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go? Well, I would go to England. I would go to England because I love England. I had spent a summer in Cambridge there when I was in school studying British literature. And I absolutely love it, and I think I would go and try to find one of those small harbor towns in probably around the north of England, somewhere with a beach, somewhere where lakes and mountains weren't too far, somewhere where I know I would find support from a certain someone for an absolute love of Phantom. And yeah, that is where I would go. Oh wait, 5.2. Do you know any languages other than English? If so, what languages? Yes, I know English, I know a little bit of Gaelic, and I know Latin and Anglo-Saxon, which is Old English, aka the language of Beowulf. That was what my master's thesis was on. And yeah, those are the words that I know. Those are the languages that I know. Number 3, how do you feel to suddenly have adopted so many fan children? Oh, I love you guys. I love you guys so much. I love being your fan mom. I love all my fan children. This community of fandom family is just such a wonderful one. It's a rich one. It's one that brings a lot of unique voices together, a lot of great artists and writers, and just general great meta people together that just, we love talking about the Phantom, and we love being united by this one thing that brings us all together despite where we are in life, what we're going through. And I'm just continually awed and amazed by just how wonderful and loving and supportive this fandom is. I know that I've made several wonderful friends here on Tumblr thanks to the family, and you can rest assured that your fan mom loves all of you very much, and she looks forward to many wonderful family moments to come. 5.4, what is your vocal range? Good question, very good question. I was actually classically trained when I was younger, and my vocal range was soprano. I stopped singing right around the time when my family moved back to America from Scotland. We lived in Scotland for a while, in Aberdeen. Absolutely beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, by the way. And I stopped singing, and I don't really remember why, other than just the shock of moving back was so crazy. For reference, I was born here in the States, then I moved to Scotland, and then I moved back. So there's that little story. And just the shock of moving back kind of knocked me off my feet, and the school system was different, so I kind of lost my classical training. But I was soprano, and it had always been a dream of mine to play Christine. And so since I kind of lost that training, then I guess this is the best way to do it, getting into her character and writing her, which writing is one of my greatest loves. It is, in fact, probably my greatest love. So, yeah, that is the story of me and my vocal range. And those of you wondering, I did get several requests to actually sing, and I will, but that will be in a separate video, just in case people might not want to hear me sing. I won't inflict that on you just in case, but that will be in a separate video that will go up a little later today. So yeah, that will be that. All right, this is question number 6. What is your favorite scent? My favorite scent is rain. Rain and walking outside after it rains. I believe it's called petrichor, but that is my favorite scent of all time. I wish that someone could capture that in a candle or in a perfume so that I could smell it all the time, because I love the smell of rain. But for perfume, what is your favorite scent? Oh, gotta go classic. Chanel No. 5. Oh yes, it is a tried and true classic, and I love it, and I wear it every day, so that is my favorite scent. All right, now we're going to get into some actual questions with names attached to them. So the Phantom fan, hi Phantom fan, asked beach or the mountains, and they prefer the mountains. Phantom fan, I am the exact same way. Your fan mom loves her some mountains. The most beautiful mountain range I've ever been to was the Smoky Mountains near Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And it is my dream to go back there when it's fall, because fall is my favorite time of year and I love everything about it. And their falls are beautiful and magnificent. So I long to go back there one day and be there in the midst of the beautiful fall, but definitely mountains. Definitely mountains. Thank you for asking the question. Next question is from La Princesse Etoile, and I'm sorry if I butchered that, but hi! Hi, Princess! Your art is amazing, by the way, and if you guys don't know, she has an art blog, which is new, where she posts all of her magnificent artwork. You guys need to check it out. It is wonderful. But she asks, for your video, where do you get inspiration for your writing? That's a very good question. Inspiration for my writing comes from a couple of sources. The first being, of course, the original Gaston Leroux writing. That novel, which I'll go into a little bit later because I'm going to do sort of a response to Fan Dad with the different interpretations of Phantom and my thoughts on them. But definitely Gaston Leroux is the biggest influence for Christine. I get so much from that writing, and I'll talk about it a little later, but that's a big influence. Another influence for my writing is The Great Gatsby. Great Gatsby is probably my favorite novel of all time. I know some of you are scratching your heads like, wait, what? Phanmom has a novel that she likes better than the original Phantom novel? Yes, and it is The Great Gatsby. I love it. I think F. Scott Fitzgerald is an incredible writer. His wordsmithery, is that a word? Yeah, that's a word. His wordsmithery is absolutely astounding, and every time I read the novel, I come away feeling enriched, and I feel like I can take this to my own writing and grow my own talent. And lastly, inspiration for my writing for this thread, I know this is going to sound really cheesy, but Fan Dad actually inspires me a lot. I think his mastery of Eric inspires me for a better mastery of Christine, to really dig down deep and understand her character, why she does the way she does, why she acts the way she acts. And his writing is just so astoundingly phenomenal. I said it earlier, and it's true, he is my angel of writing. He teaches, encourages, inspires, and he makes me want to be a better writer. All right, question number 9. This is from Phantom Fan again. Hello again. For your Phanmom vlog, tell us a story about the family going to the beach. Okay, family going to the beach. Family goes to the beach. Phanmom makes sure that every single fan child has sunscreen on because Phanmom is very pale. And she is very, very conscious about the health of her children. So she would definitely want everyone to put on sunscreen, even before they go into the water. And she would try to put sunscreen on Fan Dad. I don't know how easily he would do that. You never know. I think he may be the one that needs it most of all, but you never know. And then as we are playing in the surf, some in the water, some standing back and simply drawing, others singing songs, old sea shanties with their Phanmom. Fan Dad will catch sight of some bunny rabbits, and he absolutely adores bunny rabbits, but don't tell him I told you. And so he would gasp, "Rabbits!" And we would all go chasing after the rabbits, and we would all try to catch one, and we would try to make Fan Dad happy by catching bunny rabbits. I don't know if we could actually, or any of you really fast, because Phanmom is not fast. Phanmom is not fast at all. So we would try to catch some bunny rabbits and do our best, and then we would probably just end up laughing and rolling on the beach. And that would be a story of the family going to the beach. All right, next question. Oh goodness, this one is anonymous again, but this one is, can you do an impression of Fan Dad? Oh god, okay. Do an impression of Fan Dad. I'm assuming with the videos that he uploaded for the past few days, and I will. Honey, please don't hold this against me, but I'm going to try. Let me turn down the music so I can get my scowl on. Today we are going to be looking The Phantom of the Opera. A lovely, wonderful bit of writing, if I do say so myself. Wait, what's that? Was that little Eric? You think that talking to dolls is silly too? Well, we shall not go into what little Eric thinks. But yes, today I am going to tell you all about my thoughts on the Phantom of the Opera. Oh, honey, darling, please don't be mad. That was really funny. That's a really good question. I really like that. Okay, so that was my impression of Fandad in his Phantom videos, which, by the way, are amazing. The talent it takes to put all that makeup on, oh my gosh, that is wonderful. Darling, you are astounding. And the best I could do was a little curl. Christine has her red scarf. It's not quite as red as the red scarf as I imagine it. I imagine it to be a little darker. But you know what? It's a red scarf. And I had it. And it's mine. So that's my red scarf. Maybe one day I will go and actually look at ordering a red scarf from one of those amazing Etsy stores. And if I do, I will show it to you guys. But for now, this is as good a red scarf as any. And I love it. Okay. Sorry. Got a little itch. Alright, so now I'm going to move in. Oh, I almost forgot. One last question. But this kind of goes into the next part of the video, which will be my thoughts on the different adaptations. Elizabeth's Differences wanted me to talk about Susan Kay's Phantom. And I must admit, I have not gotten into Susan Kay's Phantom until I started role-playing on this blog. I knew that it existed, but I had never gone and sought it out. But I'm so glad that I did. Oh my gosh, that's just... It builds off of a lot of what we already know about Eric's character, and it makes a lot of sense. And it's written pretty well, and I read it cover to cover. It's a very quick read, it's a very easy read, and it's so interesting to get to know Eric on a more personal level before and during the events of the novel and the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical. So that is those are my thoughts on Susan Kay's Phantom. And now I'm going to start this next part of the video by answering a question from Fandad, which was, how did I first fall in love with Phantom? Well, when I was younger, I mentioned that I did classical training for my voice. And a part of that also came with a theater unit. So one day when I was a wee little Phanmom, I was in class and I heard my theater teacher playing this really beautiful music from a cassette player. And I guess that shows my age, because when I was young we had cassette players. We did not have CDs, we did not have Walkmans, we had cassettes. And I remember running into her office and just saying, "Oh, Miss Williams, what is that amazing music that you're playing?" And it was the title song, Phantom of the Opera, Michael Crawford and Sarah Brightman. And she sat me down and she let me listen to it, and I fell in love with it right away. I mean, I know I was maybe like 7 or 8 years old, but it sounded like nothing I'd ever heard. And I grew up watching a lot of Oscar's and Hammerstein musicals, and not really a lot of stuff actually on Broadway, but older things like The Sound of Music, King and I, South Pacific, State Fair, and Hello Dolly, which starred Michael Crawford. And I don't know how, but Michael Crawford goes from being that perfect little cinnamon bun in Hello Dolly to then growing up to be the Phantom of the Opera. Like, wow, acting, and wow, how did that work? I don't know. But that was my introduction to it, and I fell in love with it. And I went home, saved up what little allowance that I got from doing chores around the house, and bought the soundtrack on cassette tape, and just listened to it as much as I could. And I realized that I wanted to be a singer, just like Christine. And so that really kind of helped me go through and do a lot more of that training that I was speaking of when I was younger. So that answers Fandad's question, and we can move into my thoughts on the different adaptations. Andrew Lloyd Webber musical as a whole, love it, absolutely wonderful. I think that it's such powerful music. There is a reason why it's lasted as long as it has. The lyrics, the melodies, the power, the raw emotion behind every single word and every single line. It translates so well in a way that musicals sometimes don't, or don't have as much a great a power to do. And it's just a powerful story. It builds on so many great archetypes and wonderful bits of, I think, character and human experience all rolled into one. It's a powerful story, and when the music matches the power of the plot and the character and the narrative, you have Phantom of the Opera, and it's wonderful. My favorite version would definitely be the 25th anniversary. It's no secret that I absolutely adored Ramin Karimloo. He is my favorite Phantom. And Sierra is one of my favorite Christines. She is the first Christine that I saw that really made me feel, this is Christine. This is who Christine could be to me. And I latched onto her. And I think a lot of that has to do with the power that she has in her voice during the wishing you were here again scene. And then, of course, that heartbreakingly beautiful moment between her and the Phantom at the very end of the show. That just, oh, that gets me teary-eyed just thinking about it. It's wonderful. Working, I guess, back 2012 to whenever Love Never Dies comes out. Oh my god, Love Never Dies. Okay. I do have a lot of the problems that other people have with it. I think that what they did to Raoul is awful. I mean, just the worst. I've said before, I think it's perfectly understandable for Raoul to have a little bit of traumatic experiences during the Phantom thing, and so it makes sense for him to have a little PTSD just from what happened and what Eric did and what he saw. But to the point of being abusive towards Christine, no. I'll buy the drinking, I'll buy the gambling, but the point in that song, Dear Old Friend, when she says, darling, don't squeeze so tight, every time I've heard it, it sounds like she is in legitimate pain. And no matter what Raoul went through, I do not believe for one second that he would ever hurt Christine. So that is probably my biggest beef with Love Never Dies. Other than the fact that it just kind of character assassinates everybody. Like, Christine and Eric and their Gustav and Beneath the Moonless Sky, the music is beautiful. I actually really like the music. I like a lot of the music, in fact. I even like the little Coney Island numbers. I think they're fun. I think they're kind of cute. And then, of course, Beneath the Moonless Sky, Till I Hear You Sing, and The Beauty Underneath are my favorite songs, and I think they are some of Andrew Lloyd Webber's best. Best music, best lyrics, best score. I think they're wonderful. But other than that, just if you take away from the original story and pretend that these are characters that you don't know yet, it's a much better musical, because I don't believe that any of these characters would do almost any of the things that they do. As for whether or not I prefer the Australian version or the London version, I think that both have their charms and their merits, but it's really a question of song, really. That's the Love Never Dies portion. 2004 movie, oh my gosh. I think everything to say about the 2004 movie has already been said. I think that it's the typical problems that everyone else has with it, I have with it too. I don't hate Emmy Rossum. I think she has a very lovely voice. I just don't think it's Christine worthy. But to be fair, I don't think my voice is Christine worthy, because yes, I can hit some of the higher notes, not the super high notes, and y'all know the ones I'm talking about. But I don't think that her voice has the power to kind of bring the opera house down. And so, and then, you know, everyone knows what Gerard Butler sounds like. Everyone knows what the movie looks like. But funny enough, that is my favorite Raoul. That is my favorite Raoul, and I have an ask that you can go look and see why, but that is my favorite. Susan Kay's Phantom I've already talked about. The original novel. The original novel. oh my goodness, just, it is a novel that is written not the best, but I always tell people it's a novel of wonderful lines and so-so narration, and I think that's the best way to do it. Tonight I gave you my soul and I am dead. Just lines like that you just kind of have to sit back and go, wow, that is a powerful, powerful line. And yet the narration and the way that it's told isn't maybe the best, but that is a personal preference of mine. I still love it. I still read it fairly often, especially now considering the wonderful story I'm writing with Fandad. But those are my thoughts on the original novel. The Lon Chaney movie, I know we kind of skipped around in the timeline, I'm sorry. Lon Chaney movie is amazing, it's astounding, it's wonderful, especially when you just look at the time period, when it came out in the 20s, and just how much they were able to do with his prosthetics and his makeup, and the power of his performance alone is just wonderful, and I love watching it. I think I have the remastered version, but I'm not sure. But if you have not seen the original silent movie, go watch it. Do yourself a favor, go watch it. It is wonderful, and I have to agree with Fandad. I think it is perhaps the best adaptation of the source novel. I don't like the ending, but I'm not sure I've found anyone who does. But I won't spoil it. Just go watch it, and it will be wonderful. Claude Rains' version, didn't really like it. I just I think it's kind of dull and stale, and I don't like the fact that Eric is disfigured in the actual narrative and not before the narrative. I think that takes out kind of the punch of things that he does. So, can't really talk too much about that. Lastly, I'm going to talk about the Charles Dance version, which I saw very recently. Oh my gosh, I was in tears. I cried. The very end where they're singing to each other, he knows what's going to happen, spoilers, and they're singing to each other, and it's beautiful, and it's wonderful, and it's astonishingly good. I was not expecting to fall in love with it as much as I did, but Sassy Eric, Charles Dance, oh my gosh, he is wonderful. When I'm having a bad day, I'll go and rewatch clips of him, and it's just so funny. His reaction to Carlotta singing is so freaking amazing, and it's so great, and I watch it as much as I can. Okay, I'm trying to think and see if there's anything I've missed. I don't think so. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop this part of the video, and I'm going to post it, and then I'm going to warm up, and I will do just as Fandad has commanded and sing for him as his angel of music. Angel of music. Okay, I'm done. But it was really great to talk to you guys. This was really fun to do. I look forward to doing it again. And yeah, keep an eye out for the music video. No pun intended. And I'll see you guys then. Bye!